When I get outside, I immediately notice the carriage. My mind snaps back to Tokyo when I first saw the limo. It seems that stylish travel looks different in Toronto. I take a deep breath of fresh air and smile. I sure hope things ended up the way Rayo predicted, an end to suffering, the resurrection of our friends. That will surely be a worthy end to my journey. It feels like it's been a lot longer than it really has. There was a part of me that was eager to see this end, but there was a part of me that didn't want to let go. I don't know which was winning the fight in my mind. Hey love, sorry to keep you waiting. I had to get a few more things in order first. As I said, this is a rare opportunity. She smiles at me as she waves her hair back. I guess she wanted to look her best for this ball. Well, I know you're good friends with Rayo, so I'll sit on top of the carriage. I can give the driver some directions. I bet you two have lots to talk about, so you can sit inside with him. And don't worry, I won't listen in. She lets out a soft laugh as she walks away. She brushes a paw against my shoulder as she does so. Before I know it, she's on top of the carriage, smiling. A moment after, Rayo exits the tavern doors. Wow, it's awfully bright out here. I don't think I've ever been under the sun. I'm not really sure how to describe it. But I know there's a lot I haven't done. I guess now I'm free to try everything. And it's all thanks to you, Exodus. He gives me a warm smile before walking into the carriage. I wonder how long it would take to get to the castle. Would you care to join me? I'm sure we can keep each other company. No shortage of things to talk about. After saying this, he enters the carriage. I follow behind him, climbing in the back. This carriage is much bigger on the inside. Flashbacks to the limo ride play more in my head. Rhea was sitting comfortably on one side in silence. I'll take a seat if I were you. Shouldn't be standing when we start moving. I don't want you to hurt yourself. He gestures at the open seat in front of him. Without pause, I take a seat and look to him. Not sure how long of a ride we have. I've only visited the castle in suspension. I've never left Velasquez's throne room. He rests back in his seat, sighing heavily. I never thought I would live to see this day. We watched over Tara for millions of years. To think that change will finally come. I couldn't possibly be more excited. Everything is about to come together. This day will be remembered for eternity. Talk about putting the pressure on me, Rayo. Velasquez will be quite happy to see you. He's been waiting for a very long time. I expect he has quite the feast ready. It's not too often that he opens the gates. The last time was the Exodus project. Of course, it didn't go as planned. The carriage shakes as we start to move. I'm reminded of when the train started back up again. Rayo crosses his arms, unaffected by this change. That's a depressing story anyway. What else is there to talk about? I'm open for anything, really. I have a few ideas now that he's being more open, but the number one thing on my mind is his past. How did he really come to rule over the Ark? Where was he from, and what was his life like before? You want to know about my past. You really are something else, always taking an interest in others. I wish I could tell you Exodus, but some things are lost, even to me. It's been so long, I've forgotten. As far as I can tell, I've always existed. I can't even pinpoint a first memory. I feel like the Ark and I always were. I've always held Velasquez ruled Terra, so I've lived at least as long as him. But people say that he's lived an eternity. I guess that means I have too. There isn't really much else to say. I would meet with him and help him plan stuff. That is, aside from my Ark duties. I had to maintain the flow of death, or else Earth would become overpopulated. And that's where my one final lie rests. I told Akron he could bring back the dead, but honestly, the Ark can't do that. I'm sure you've guessed it by now as well. The Ark can only control the flow of death. It sends the souls of the dead to Terra. Knowing this made him less angry. I told him that you could raise the dead. Let's just say that he trusts you a lot. But even that is purely conjecture. Velasquez will tell you more than I can. I can only talk about the Ark, really. But that's all there is to it. Unless you want a big history lesson. I mean, I influenced Earth quite a lot. The death of one person can start wars. The death of one person can fell nations. I did what had to be done to maintain order. Either way, I'm not in a talkative mood. I spent almost a few years training Akron. It took a while for him to catch on. There was always something on his mind. He couldn't stop thinking about Max, but it wasn't with care or work. He wants to kill her, Exodus, but he can't really do that anymore. He can only visit Earth in suspension. And you must never kill in suspended space. It wipes the victim from existence. I don't fully understand it myself, but Max was imperative in all of this. Acorn's grudge could be catastrophic. That's why he must never harm her. But you might be wondering how I know this. Well, I've done it before in the past, to help keep history on the right path. Of course, Nami and Nagi are too strong. I could never risk attempting to kill them. Then I would be the one getting erased. I can't go into any further detail, because honestly, I don't remember. There's been so much on my mind lately. Either he truly doesn't remember, or he won't tell me. I shrug and rest back in my chair. For a moment, it seems like we're back to square one. I can't force him if he has nothing to say. We sit together in silence for the rest of the ride. I guess his past was something he was protective of. I hope that Velasquez might be able to explain more. We come to an abrupt stop, signaling our arrival. My heart sinks when I realize we are here. That means Velasquez was mere moments away. Rayo quickly exits the carriage before I can speak. I follow after him, but I don't think I'm fast enough. I look in every direction once I exit the carriage, but for the life of me, I can't see him anywhere. Perhaps he just ran off to the castle on his own. He would get to meet Velasquez for the first time, too. Hey there, Exodus. Glad that the ride is finally over. I was starting to get a bit uncomfortable. She jumps down from the carriage with a wide smile. It seems she was jubilant just to be in the vicinity. This place is usually crowded with guards. They never let anybody close to the castle. You have no idea how happy I am right now. I nod and look up to the castle. I was stunned. It was definitely a sight to behold, like something you'd see in the history books. But this time, I would be a part of that history. I hope you like waiting in line, though. It seems there's quite a lot of people. Too bad you don't get your own VIP entrance. But we really need to hurry. Every moment is one lost opportunity. The gates won't be open forever, you know? After saying this, she runs to the gates. I have no choice but to follow, so I run after her. After everything that happened, I was finally here. But we wouldn't get in without a wait. We stood in a line of almost hundreds of people. It seemed like everyone in Toronto was here. There were way more people than I saw back in Riley. With every moment we get a little closer. I notice a couple of guards standing at the gates. They're guarding someone who's greeting guests. Did it really have to be Leto? I hate that guy with a passion. Listen, give him the cold shoulder. It seems she has a genuine distaste for this guy. I questioned her about it in an effort to pass time. Well, information is my life. I do busyness with facts set in stone. You know, with the past and current events. But Laitu is the exact opposite. He does these readings of the future. People throw money at him to make stuff up. It's impossible to predict the future. He's a scammer of the highest order. Whatever you do, don't pay him. What money would I pay him with anyway? I don't even know what the currency is on Taral. After we pass some more time, we arrive at the gates. Sure enough, we're greeted by this Laitu. Sam, what a lovely little surprise. I didn't expect to see you here, especially not with the company either. Yeah, this is my friend Exodus. Might want to check with the king. I think it's safe to say we're expected. Yes, Velasquez told me about him personally. No specifics, just that he is important, but that doesn't place you above the rest. I'm here to do my readings of the future. Everyone needs to know what awaits them. Velasquez has promised a brand new start. So today, the readings are on him. Everyone is sharing their stories inside. We're looking to a brighter future. Yeah, like I believe that. You're just making it up as you go. I don't believe a word you say. But you'll still have to hear it. Nobody enters without a reading. This is by Velasquez's decree, not mine. So who's going to go first? Or should I start choosing for you? Whatever. I'll go first. Make it quick, Laitu. We're in a rush. Sam holds out her hand and Laitu reaches forward. He claps her hand in both of his and closes his eyes. It's almost like she knew how this was done. Any excuse to touch a pretty lady, right? He's deep in deep thought and doesn't even give a response. What an interesting future you have, Sam. I didn't expect this from you, to be honest. He lets go of her hand and she pulls it back. She shrugs and rolls her eyes, glad that it's over. Sam, your future is so full of knowledge, but you don't hoard it, you share it. You'll teach others and help them learn. But that's not where it ends either. I sense something else, much further off. A reunion with a lost family member. Nice try, but I don't do reunions. I'm different than most people, you know? Your generic terms won't work on me. Well, I could have been a little off. You were fishing and unwilling. Excuses, lied to. Just read Exodus so we can get inside. Yes, of course, I'll get right on that. But I did forget to let you know. Velasquez requests an audience Exodus. He turns and gives me a wide smile. He would like to see you before his speech. So please go to the throne room once inside. That is, after I take your hand, of course. I offer him my hand, just like Sam did earlier. He grips it tightly and closes his eyes. He squeezes it a little tighter, like it's not working. In fact, this seems more intense than Sam's reading. He shifts in place a little bit, almost uncomfortably. I must apologize, this is difficult. Normally, I can do this naturally, but there's just a lot to process here. I look at Sam and we exchange awkward glances, but before I can speak up, Laitu pulls back. Well then, that was something else. Thanks for letting me read you, Exodus. Wait, what? I asked him what he saw. Enjoy your stay in the castle. Please see Velasquez as soon as you can. Let's not hold up the line any longer. The guards beside him open up the gates. We're pushed inside without any warning. I turn back, but they quickly lock us in. So much death. Talk about hospitality, am I right? Maybe he didn't like what he saw. Nobody pays for bad news after all. That is, if he even saw anything. He probably just not iced the long lineup. Had to push us inside to keep schedule. I have to admit, there was something off about Naito. If he didn't like what he saw, that was an ill omen. Especially given my role as the savior of Terra. But I shrug it off. I don't believe in that anyway. Whatever happened next, like you could never predict. Especially if Rayo was right about my true potential. So this is what the castle looks like. It's the prettiest thing I've ever seen. There's not a spot of dirt everywhere, anywhere, and everything is so shiny as well. It's almost like a whole new world. The rest of Terra isn't kept this clean. She smiles as she examines the royal halls. There were places on Earth like this, so to me it wasn't a treat. Look, everyone is going over there. That must be the way to the ballroom. She points to where a crowd of people are walking. I guess that's where the real party would be happening. I guess you have other plans. You're supposed to go meet Velasquez. I guess I could check the party out myself. Or perhaps I can do some sleuthing. The other areas of the castle may be empty. This might be my best chance to look around. She examines her surroundings more intently. She did mention she wanted to extract some information, but the party in the ballroom also had promise. I wonder if my meeting with Velasquez could wait. Should I leave Sam behind or ask her to the ballroom? Let's go check out the ballroom. I suggest that we go check out the ballroom together. After all, this might be the only chance we get. Also, there's bound to be information where people are. I'm sure that castle staff members would be present. You make a good point. They rarely get to leave the castle. I could use their information for planning. Perhaps I can look for weaknesses as well. Something I could use to get back in. It's easier to do from the inside. She lets out a soft laugh, smiling at me. Not your typical date, I suppose, but I do what I need to survive. Don't worry, I won't ignore you. She runs off in the direction of the ballroom. I follow after her, underestimating her speed. I look back at the grand staircase and think, after this, Velasquez would tell me everything. It takes a few moments for me to catch up to her. When I do, I see the massive ballroom in front of me. It's packed with people, all wearing massive smiles. This must be the first time they've been inside. There you are. You're slower than I thought. I already scoped out the whole room. She explains the room to me in vivid detail. She points to different areas as she talks about them. You can grab some food over there. I guess drinks are on the house as well. Over there, the live orchestra is preparing. I guess the dance floor is in the center. Right now, everyone is off to the sides. I haven't found anything important yet. I suppose I could go mingle with the crowd, but I can't just ditch you yet, can I? What would you like to do together? I suppose we should just talk about whatever we can. You would want to act natural when you're spying, right? Perhaps we can talk and make our way around the room. Are you sure you've never done this before? You seem to know a lot about spying. Maybe we could team up after this. Look at you, making me doubt things. Normally, I'm the type of girl to work alone, but there's just something about you. I mean, we barely even know each other, but to me, it feels like I know you well. Maybe I met you somewhere before the prison. The orchestra starts playing, startling everybody. Sam's ears perk up as she sees the dance floor fill up. Well, there goes my chance to spy. I won't be able to hear them over the music. Just when things were going my way, too. I guess I could examine the perimeter. It's not crowded with people anymore. Perhaps I can find structural weaknesses. That is, unless you would like to dance. Maybe I can hear things a little closer. People are more intimate on the dance floor. Wait, she wants to dance with me? Just for a chance to glean information. She's really dedicated to her work, isn't she? Don't get any funny ideas now. Just doing this to get some intel, you know? If you want, you can go to Velasquez. That's true. I could go meet with the king, but a dance before I go wouldn't hurt either. I just didn't want to keep him waiting too long. Sure, I would love to dance. It doesn't sound so bad, so I agreed to dance. After all, it would help her get the job done. She smiles at me and grabs my hand promptly. Before I know it, she drags me to the dance floor. Anxiety overtakes me as the partygoers stare at us. We were late to the dance, so we stood out. I go up, simply following Sam's graceful motions. You're making us stand out more, Exodus. Just follow my lead and act natural. We're a man and a woman, having fun. She leads us into a group of multiple dancers. All of our moves are synchronized so we don't clash. The last thing we want is to bump into people. She looks at everyone around us trying to listen in, but it's very apparent that she can't hear anything. I thought she would look angry, but she looks remorseful. I guess you caught me, Exodus. I won't be getting any intel like this. But I'll savor the dance for a long time. She presses closer to me and talks a little louder. It's better now. I'm able to hear her over the party. I mean, you're going to play a big role. I want to know what you're really like. History never remembers the little things. But dancing is a lot like fighting. You can learn about people with such ease. They don't even have to say a single word. I'm sure you believe me, Exodus. You don't strike me as being a skeptic. Not after all you've seen and been through. She smiles like she knows she's right. So that's honestly why I asked you to dance. History will never remember who you are. It'll only remember what you've done. That is, unless someone makes a record. Now we don't really have much time left, so this might be my only chance. As I said, I deal in the truth. I couldn't care less about what you do. I just want to remember you for who you are. We continue our fluid movements on the dance floor. Is she saying that I was the reason she wanted to come? What about this once in a lifetime nonsense? This really is a once in a lifetime chance. Hold hands and dance with the Savior. Not many people would get to do that. And don't worry, I won't sell this intel. I will use it to make an important point. You are not the end result of your actions. You have quirks, and you make mistakes. You've lived a whole life up to this moment. I won't be able to give them everything, but perhaps I can give them enough. Something that people can look up to. Heroes are only remembered for their feats, and makes you forget that they're normal. You can't strive to achieve the impossible. Either way, you get what I mean. I could ramble on for hours, but I'm glad I got the chance to know you. The orchestra stops playing during our conversation. The partygoers applaud and slowly leave the dance floor. However, Sam and I remain standing in the middle. Sorry for lying about my intent. I know it must sound really stupid, but like I said, you seem special. I don't know why, but it's the truth. Either way, I guess I should be fully open. I've been to this castle many times before. I'm taken aback by her sudden statement. So she really came only to talk with me. I asked her to elaborate on what she just said. She grabs me and leads me away from the dance floor. Sorry, we stood out too much over there. At least now we have some privacy. This has to do with my true employer. That must be who she sells all of her intel to. His name is Dusk and he lives here. Actually, he's Velasquez's advisor. He handles the treasury and pays for info. So I've actually been here a lot. I really just want to get to know you. Like I said, I want to help his story. I hope you can forgive me for lying. I know it sounds ridiculously sappy, but I think I've finally gotten enough. She smiles at me and rests against a wall. I guess she really did do this just to talk with me. I forgive her and thank her for the time we had. Don't worry, hun. It was my pleasure. I guess you should go meet the king now. Wouldn't want to make him wait for too long. But I wish you the best of luck, Exodus. Not everybody gets a personal audience. I can't wait to hear his big speech. With how important he says you are, he might even want you by his side. There's something you could brag about. After everything is said and done, I wouldn't mind meeting with you again. Perhaps a more personal interview. Don't let the popularity get to your head. There were many who helped you get here. I'd like to think we're all equals. She walks away and starts mingling with everyone else, but through it all, she has a wide smile on her face. I'm still not sure what she would be doing, but I was glad that I could help her out in the end. I leave Sam behind and walk back to the atrium. It's even more empty than it was before. Perhaps the sound of music lured people away. I examine the grand staircase that resting in front of me. I place my foot on the bottom step and look up. It was happening. I would finally meet the king. Everything I've done, it's led up to this moment. I ascend the stairs, my mind hard at work. I imagine a million different scenarios in my head. But soon enough, I would know the truth about everything, what my power truly was, and what Velasquez wanted. When I reach the top of the stairs, I see a large door. Clearly, this was the throne room of Velasquez. I go up audibly as I stare at its intricate design. It did a good job making the inhabitants seem grand. I opened the door with a large sense of hesitance, wondering what fate awaited me and all of my friends. I hope things are going well. I'm starting to worry, to be honest. Today is a big day for all of us. Kaylin, it'll be fine. You're worrying over nothing. I would say they got this one in the bag. Besides, you and Riley are both here. If anything happens, you'll protect us. We don't have anything to worry about. Sorry, I guess you're right. I've just been a little on edge lately. Being in prison and then on that big fight. Why didn't anybody come sooner? I sent mail for Endymion and Conrad. This 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 all could have been avoided. There's no point worrying over the past. Remember, the future is what's important, especially with what Exodus is doing. I really believe in him, you know? He hasn't even been gone for that long. But I can already start to feel change. I only leave it when I see it, PB. And sorry, but I need to be excused. Some time alone would be great right now. What's gotten into him? Well, I'm sure he'll be fine. Is everything okay, PB? Kaylin looked a little bit upset. I'm sure everything will be fine, but I feel like we did more harm than good. Especially with what we did for Riley. Well, he got what he deserved in the end. He won't be able to push us around anymore. True, but innocent people died, and I'm scared it might not be over yet. Just then, a visitor knocks on the tavern doors. People can't even read anymore. The sign says we're closed for the day. In disregard to Peebee's declaration, they knock harder. Don't worry, Peebee. I'll handle it. I don't think they're about to stop. Fidget leaves his brother behind and goes to the door. They keep knocking. It must be important. I hope it's Mom. Now that would be nice. He slowly opens it to greet the persistent guest. Welcome to the Wayfarer. We were closed, but I'll help anyway. Is there something I can do for you today? This is a testament to Father's failure, built to satisfy an enraged population. I would say it's no longer needed. Naggy. Correct as usual, sister. And no, we don't need any help. But you're a cute pest. I'll give you that. Yeah, it's a shame he had to get involved. Let's get this out of the way quickly, Naggy. I don't like killing the little ones. Chapter 10. The Future We Create. This experience is surreal. I don't know how to feel. After everything I've been through, I'm finally here. A whirlwind of emotion overtakes me, and I panic. There are two thrones in this room, side by side. One is a beautiful white, and the other a dark black. I wonder, which one does Velasquez roll Terra from? I scan the room and take in my surroundings. There's a part of me that finds this room familiar. Of course, I accept that as an impossibility. There's no way I've been here before. I'm not sure where Velasquez is, and this concerns me. But as if to startle, the door behind me slams shut. I quickly turn to look and see a man clad in royal gear. It's finally happening. This is Velasquez. After all this time, you're finally here. I started to think you might not make it. Please, offer me your hand, Exodus. He puts forth his hand and looks at me expectantly. It's not in my nature to leave a king waiting like this. I quickly put my hand forward and introduce myself. He has a firm grip and happily leads the interaction. I know who you are. There's no need for introductions today. If I'm not mistaken, you know me as well. He releases the grip on my hand and walks away. Moving to the thrones, I promptly follow suit. However, he doesn't sit. He stands between them. I was told you met Nami and Nagi earlier. That must have been unfortunate. Errant children often cause headaches. He rests one hand on each of the thrones and sighs. Errant children. What did he mean by that? I get the feeling I'm not in for a short discussion. Honestly, I'm not sure where to start. I've envisioned this day for a long time, but now that we're here, I'm at a loss. I'm sure you know the truth about Taral, a reservoir for the souls of the dead, my own personal heaven, or hell. Things are a little more complex, however, and I'm sure you have lots of questions, but permit me to speak before you inquire. You deserve to know the truth of things. so I will be nothing less than transparent. Please sit tight and listen to my tale. The people know I'm not from Tehran, but they don't know my true origin, nor the reason I've lived an eternity. I come from a large federation of worlds, a galactic community living in harmony. Of course, this was millions of years ago. I can no longer be certain of their status. Tehran does not exist in the same space, so I've been out of contact for a long time. Earth as well cannot reach out. We are in our own reality plane. Millions of these closed off spaces exist. They are given complete autonomy. You could even say they get stranded, unable to return to the Federation. When I left it behind, it was hurting. We were in need of new sources of energy, so they looked to the brightest minds. They gave these visionaries world stones, the technology to create these planets, and the ability to shape their own reality. It was their job to found a utopia and to create a new source of energy, something that could help us stay afloat. And if they did make a new energy source, they would use it to break out of their plane. They would present this power to the Federation. But the power required would be vast. Breaking free would be a sign of success. Otherwise, they would be stranded forever. Though that wasn't really a bad thing. That was the secret nature of this project. If the Federation died, we would live. Their catastrophe would not reach us inside, and we would only break out if we succeeded. It was a failsafe in both directions. Yes, I received several of these stones. I used them to try and save the Federation, but instead, I caused so much disaster. The first thing I did was create Tehran, a place for me to hide if things failed. My very own utopia away from harm. Then I had to create another world, a world where I would conduct this experiment. After all, I was a Federation scientist, but I thought outside of the box. If I created it, I knew I would fail. I was uncertain and afraid. Our deepest feelings enter our creations. I couldn't paint this campus without doubt. If I did, it would quickly meet its end. So I create a sort of bridge, a place between worlds, connecting them, somewhere to experiment and watch from afar. A celestial observatory deck, you could say. Close, yet too far for collateral damage. And that's when I took the next step in my plan. I used the stones to create two beings. They were made in the image of perfection. They wouldn't have the doubt that I did. Their sole purpose was to succeed. Error wasn't in their nature. They would surely carry out my goal. Yes, I created Nabi and Nagi. I created Tehran and the Ark as well, all using the power from these world stones. After that, I fixed the stones to a spear, and I gave my creations a special gift, the ability to create a perfect world. They made what would become Earth. Standing on the bridge, they used the spear. They fulfilled the duty I created for them for. But I've learned perfection is fleeting, or at least sabotaged by our own curiosity. They want to know more about themselves. This desire for knowledge hurt the Earth. They started to neglect their duties. I had no choice. I had to open up to them. But they were not accepting of the truth. We are all thralls of the Federation. They said they would rather not exist. I felt guilty for creating them. They only lived to serve the Federation. but instead of guilt, they felt anger. I couldn't stand up to them. They embodied the power of the stones, but they held a weaponized version too. I begged them not to kill me, but they said they had far worse plans. They would make the Federation suffer first. They wanted to see who was playing God, who was condemning people to these fates, even if it was for the greater good. I'm sure they would want to kill them. They would seek to tear the Federation apart. They were convinced this was a just cause. To that end, they broke free. You see, the stones weren't living beings. They couldn't grow stronger with experience, but Navi and Nagi could, and did. I cursed the fact that I created them. My abstract thinking condemned us all. But they didn't just leave me behind. They engaged in a ritual before they left, something to curse me for what I had done. They used the spear to plague Earth. Disease, famine, death, darkness. They wreaked havoc on what we created. This broke the spear into 3 fragments. 2 of them are the weapons they carry. The third they hid away from me on Earth. They told me they would return one day, after they met the Federation's leader. That's when they would finish me off. They wanted me to suffer for eternity, watch Earth fall apart from their curse. I would see my entire cause fall before me. They had the power to destroy the galaxies. They would rampage in search of the Federation, and I would never get that third fragment. My creation would crumble before me. They would destroy the people I served, and then they would come back to kill me. At least that's what they thought. But I'm not what you would call foolish. I didn't give them all of the world's stones. I kept some to myself, a contingency plan. But this time I did the opposite. I created a being to help me rule Earth. However, I didn't model them to be perfect. I wouldn't hold them to such standards. But together, we would rule over the worlds. They would call the Ark their home. Rayo was a fine ruler and son. He helped govern Nagi and Navi's curse. He was in control of the force of death. This helped Earth stay correctly populated. He could even prevent the spread of disease. He kept the balance of things in check. But I'm not I something peculiar, a byproduct of my children using stones. Death had an aspect of power to it. When someone died, energy was released. I don't know how to explain this, but it was an unfathomable amount. I guess you could call it a spirit, but we had no way to utilize that energy, so the spirit simply withered and vanished. At that point, Rayo had an idea. Their spirits could find form on Terral. When they died, they would come to my paradise. I agreed without a moment of hesitation. We put into effect as soon as we could. I used the last of my world stones for this, but I knew that would be worth it. The energy started flowing through Terral. When they arrived, we wiped their memory. We made them think they fled their home. They wanted to start life anew on Terral. Their life energy would no longer be wasted. We even created a questionnaire for them. They told us their likes, and we catered. Terral had his own laws of reality. They expanded to accommodate this traffic. You could call it a growing paradise. That is what gave Terral its image. We were always open for immigration. However, they were only coming from Earth. I did have an ulterior motive though. I wanted to grow this power on Terral. Maybe one day it would be enough to escape. Then I could help the Federation. or if anything was left of it. I had no way of seeing the situation, but it didn't work as I intended. The power was far too diluted. I needed a way to concentrate it. However, I had other things to worry about. This traffic was starting to corrupt Tehran. Nabi and Nagi's curse was quickly spreading. The more people died, the worse it got. It even corrupted Rayo into what he is now. Warped his powers, gave him more abilities. Tehran got the brunt of it though. Disease, famine, death. It all came here, and no longer was the world expanding. It turned my paradise into a living hell. We became overpopulated very quickly. We couldn't walk it without hitting someone. This made me realize something shocking. Nabi and Nagi would be gathering power. Their rampage would result in lots of death, but they held the ability to concentrate it. If I wanted that, I would need the fragment, so Rhea would die starving thoroughly. We looked and searched all over Earth, in constant fear of Nagi and Navi's power. They had far too much of a head start. Eventually, we found the fragment. With everything in place, we planned. How do we grow enough power to stop them? We had to set a trap. They could likely sense energy, so we needed enough to lure them back. But my past had taught me one thing. The stones in my scepter were not enough. I needed to make something living, something that could grow exponentially. So the third fragment was his scepter. As unbelievable as this is, I was following along. He had a way of explaining things in a clear fashion. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, we wanted to lure them back. We would unleash our power and tap into theirs. After all, they were harvesting too. I had to assume they held more power, so we only needed to get their attention. When they came, we would spring the trap. Everything would be present in one room, all three fragments, them and our lure. A battle would likely ensue, but everything would be connected. We could unleash every bit of power. That's when I would break free from here, but I wouldn't stop at just that. I would go on to break out every reality plane. It would cause a massive chain reaction, and in the end, we would all be free. We could live in harmony like before. We would open trade routes and help each other. All the connections would be open. This has always been my goal, Exodus. The Federation would live on, and billions of worlds would coexist. I would do what no one else could accomplish. That's what I told the people, too. I was just selective in my wording. They could never know their true nature. Okay, let me make sure I have this straight. He created gods, and they went on to rebel. They cursed the earth, so Velasquez made Rayo, but eventually Terral became cursed as well. Nabi and Nagi wanted to destroy the Federation, so they were likely harvesting energy from death. This meant they were destroying reality planes. Velasquez wanted to kill them and save the Federation, but he wouldn't just stop at saving the Federation. He would give freedom to all of the reality planes. This would pull them into the same physical space. A new universe would be born, completely connected. If that was to happen, he would need to lure them back. This meant concentrating power in his own vessel. If they came to harvest it, a battle would ensue. All of that power in a single room would be unleashed. This is what Velasquez would use to carry out his plan. He would combine his energy with the energy they harvested. It would be like when Nagi tried to unleash my power. However, instead of destruction, it would be liberation. And that's when one incredible fact dawned on me. Yes, I see you figured it out. About 10 years ago, I started a movement. I presented it as the Exodus Project. I promised I would open all of the connections. It was always destined to fail, Exodus. At least the public would see it that way. But from my view, I set things in motion. I gathered many of Terra's brightest minds, much like the Federation did in the past. Together, we would plan a course of action. We needed to create a living being, a vessel with the power of a world stone. Such a feat seemed almost impossible. But one night I was struck by inspiration, a method that would surely accomplish this. Of course, I could never tell the others. It involved their sacrifice exodus. I killed them and stored them in my staff until I had enough power to serve my goal. I'm not proud of my actions. I didn't want to take after Nabi and Nagi, but I needed enough power to create a lure.
Stream elements.
Then the last
Said.
quest killed PB and
Stay
Fidget's
moist, my
motor.
friends, hydrate.
That's a horrible thing to do. I'm shocked. Don't jump to conclusions, Exodus. They are still alive and well, just held within the vessel I created. And that's where I was quite dishonest. The Exodus project was not a failure. In fact, it created you. I take a few steps back and my confusion intensifies. I start to panic. That was the last thing I expected. This feeling must be akin to what Nabi and Nagi felt. Am I just a pawn of the last quest of the Federation? Please, my child, do not panic. It's not as complicated as you think. Allow me to continue explaining. You were to help Terra's overpopulation. You would take a fraction of Earth's souls. This would ease our trouble and grow power. But when a Terran died, they faded away. The remaining power ended up wasted. So I made that go to you as well. I couldn't stop immigration completely, so I found a slight loophole, if you will. All the power would still end up inside you. You house the souls of billions. There is limitless power within you, the most beautiful of my creations. I don't know how to feel. This doesn't make sense. What about my memories and my name? I know this must be a shocking revelation, but all these souls fight for dominance. You may inherit their memories or ideals. Your true name is not Exodus' last name. One of the lost souls gave you this moniker. Someone strong enough to influence you and control you they did for a while now, but the other souls still fought this. You might have noticed some inner conflict. Maybe you said something you didn't mean, or your thoughts seemed unlike you. If not, then I would consider yourself lucky. You have a sort of omnipotence. You can see events happening away from you, much like light rail as a special sight. You do not retain this information. Only the souls that witness it do. It's weird, knowing and not knowing. That would be the source of any doubt. Memories conflicting with Exodus's soul. It would definitely make you seem ignorant. But you're nothing of the sort, my child. and you won't hold these souls forever. You'll have freedom when the battle is over. You'll be able to retain your physical forms, but you'll hold on to the strongest soul. You'll truly become Exodus. That is, if there is enough power. So I must hope you're strong enough. I don't think ever been more confused. Oh, there we go. That was a good one. And Exodus was the name of the strongest soul within. I didn't like this, but I could gain my independence. And they explained how I met with people who have died. They must have been stored in me. As the vessel, there had to be a way to release them or revive them. I noticed he doesn't mention Rayo or his plan. Was he keeping that secret even from the last quest? If that's the case, I feel good about my odds. Rayo had been growing his power for an eternity. But Rayo told me he didn't know what my power was. It's odd that sending souls to Terral was his idea. It wasn't a hard connection to make, if you knew. They are both aware of the energy death created. It could be another lie, or maybe he forgot. He had been living the same cycle over and over. His only objective was to grow this power within me. I feel unworthy of such devotion, even from Rayo. But yes, that's the story. Now you know the entire truth. You were made to fight Nami and Nagi. You'll defeat them and unleash the power. Then you can reshape reality as you wish. You don't have to take after my ideals. But I know there is no evil within you, so the universe is in capable hands. I trust your judgment. Exodus' last name. Just then the throne room door is kicked open. I didn't even get a chance to process all of this. But at that moment I realized I would never get to. Nami strolls down the red carpet to us. What a beautiful story, Father. Obviously worked in your favor. Don't listen to him, Exodus. Nami, it is not time yet. I'm speaking with my child. We have much to discuss. So the Exodus project made you. I knew there was something about you, but I wasn't able to make the connection. Father mentioned the project succeeded, but I didn't know you were its creation, a living vessel, just like Maggie and I. You can't be the only one, though. We should have won in that ballroom. Someone tapped into the flow of power. Father, you're a horrible man. You went on to create more slaves. Why didn't you learn your lesson? I did, Nami. I truly did. That's why Exodus and Rayo won't fail. I've placed all my hope on them. So the other one is called Rayo, another name to add to my list. None have been able to escape my wrath. Father, you're a foolish man. I can't believe Exodus would trust you. You only create others for your own gain. Nami looks at me, displaying signs of sadness. She lowers her sword as if to show a lack of hostility. Father is a pawn creating more pawns. He doesn't love his creations. If they rebel, he wants to kill them. I'm sure he's planning our demise, and it's likely he wants to use you. But that's all he ever does. Use people. All of Earth and all Tehran is full of pawns to achieve his goal. Renewed sustenance for the Federation. Nobody here exists beyond that purpose, and that is the harsh truth of things. The Federation thinks they can play God, or at least they did think that. What? Nami flourishes her sword before attacking Velasquez. She skewers the blade through his gut, smirking. Looking straight into his eyes, she laughs. Your Federation is no more, Father. Destroying it was almost too easy. Our sights have been set much higher now, but I've waited so long for this. The chance to destroy your dreams and punish you for everything you've done. Blood drops to the floor, and I look on in shock. I want to do something, but I can't come between them. I'm paralyzed in fear as I watch Nami kill Velasquez. Nami, please. We had such a hopeful existence. We had the potential to do anything, but in the end, we were slaves. I believe in a life of limitless purpose, not a life planned out by a creator. You can't tie me down with strings. Father, we lost all hope when you told us the truth. And now, I will do the same to you. Your Federation is gone, completely razed. You've waited millions of years, and it was all for nothing. No hope exists. You can't stop us. Velasquez trembles, losing a severe amount of blood. There is distance between them as the blade is so long. No, Nami, you're wrong. Hope will always exist within us, even when it seems like there is none. It's up to us to chase after it. Instead of that, you gave up. Only those who persevere will survive. He grabs the blade and pushes it deeper inside of him. It causes him more pain, but closes the distance. He takes steps as he does this, moving to Nami. Father, you lashed out instead of looking for hope. I am not to blame for your tantrum, but there's one thing I know for sure. He impels himself further, taking more steps forward. A trail of blood spills behind him, and he gets weaker. You think you destroyed the Federation, but it is based on the idea of unity. And Nami, an idea can never die. He's finally close enough to take action. He grips his scepter and drives it through her chest. She grunts in pain, twisting the blade within him. Velasquez coughs up blood and turns to look at me. I knew this was over. He wasn't going back. Exodus, the rest is up to you. Shape reality as you see fit. Do what I always knew you could. Nami turns the gear on her blade, crying in pain. The room fills with a flash of white light, but I can see the look on their faces. Sorrow, like a father and daughter regretting lost time. And when it subsides, they are both gone. The only thing remaining is Nami's sword on the ground. I walk to it slowly with a sense of anxiety. Did all of their energy merge into this blade? I kneel down and pick it up with intense hesitation. If that was the case, its power was incredible. The power of Nami, the scepter, and myself. If anything could stop Nagi, it was this. But when I pick it up, I hear clapping behind me. I turn to see Nagi standing by the throne room doors. He must have been watching and enjoying the show. His slow claps echo loudly through the chambers. He walks to me and takes out his blade. I do the same in turn, and we meet in the middle. We stand in front of each other, weapons outstretched. I can feel beads of sweat make their way down my body. Do you really think you can win, Exodus? I remember what happened last time. You got lucky, but it won't happen twice. I stand my ground and grip the sword tighter. Last time I didn't stand a chance, but with this sword I might be able to win, especially if it's connected to the power within me. We've harvested for an eternity, you know? You were only created a decade ago. What makes you think you're stronger? Nabi was much weaker than I am, and the scepter's power is almost gone. I don't see how you could defeat me. We might as well give up, or at the very least, join me. Not everybody can wield that blade. He's insane if he thinks I would want to join him. He and Nabi must have destroyed so many reality planes. The lives of countless billions were in this blade. I wanted to free them, not harvest more. But at the same time, he could easily defeat me. I'm unsure if I had enough power to stand up to him. There's a part inside of me that wants to join him. The souls inside of me must be fighting one another. Conflicted, I presume. It's no surprise, given what you are. We're not so different, you know? Tools created by Father. No, tools created by the Federation. Only left with doubt when told the truth. If you didn't help him, he would kill you. He did it to Nami without any hesitation. We are only fighting for our freedom. He lowers his blade like Nami did earlier. Then he stares into my eyes and smiles. Don't you want freedom too? Your destiny has never been your own. Everything has been decided for you. I'm not as evil as Father made me out to be. I just went against his horrific ideals. He believes that slavery is acceptable. It's not just my freedom that I desire. I desire freedom for every living being. For that, the shackles must be destroyed. In this case, it was the Federation, and the scientists chosen as pawns. Believe me, they've been destroyed. But I realize there's even more. Our journey has been long, but I know it's nowhere near complete. There's nothing to connect anymore. We've harvested everything, Exodus. Your reason to exist is now invalid. But trust me, I know that pain. Nami and I endured it for an eternity, all in the name of our noble goal. I can tell what you're thinking right now. So many souls are contained within you, all fighting each other for dominance. Their viewpoints may always conflict, but one desire will be universal. They all want the freedom to live again. I want that for you as well, Exodus. But I won't just stop at you. I will make sure everybody is truly free. I can't tell if he's genuine or playing me. As soon as he mentions inner conflict, my mind fires up. Millions of voices sound in my head, and it's insane. He uses his chance to start walking to me. I can no longer grasp what thoughts are my own. Do I agree with nagging, or do I oppose him? My grip on the blade tightens and then loosens. This confusion allows him to keep approaching me. I mean you no harm. We don't have to fight. Not yet. I'll give you the chance to decide. Father told you a twisted tale. He must have made me seem so evil. But I have a tale of my own, you know? And I would love to tell it to you. He approaches me and places a hand on my shoulder. It feels like when Rayo did the same thing to me. It's familiar, yet a little worrisome. I don't think Donkey would be taking me to the Ark. You'll get the chance to see my home. I'm enveloped in a flash of what light, much like when Nami spun the gear on her blade. But this is different. We're moving. For a moment, I wonder where he could be taking me. At an earlier time, and in a fit of panic, escapees from the Wayfarer's Tavern hide in the forest. Fearing their lives, they fight to catch their breath. PB, you need to calm down right now. We did everything we could. It's a miracle that we survived. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. Did you not see the same thing I did? They killed my brother, thanks to you. This wasn't my fault, PB. You didn't see what those two could do. It would have been useless to contest them. Please think about this rationally. I am upset more than I've ever been, but I didn't want to add to the body count. It was your job to protect us, though. You've been doing it for years, Righty. You can't just back down from a fight. PB, I know this is difficult for you, but we would all be dead if we fought back. They have power like I've never seen. We need to be thankful we escaped. I hope Trish and Kaylin did too. But trust me, Bidget's not gone yet. They skewered him right in front of us. I held him in my arm before we ran away. How can you say he's not gone? PB fumes with anger, but this time is justified. Remember what Rayo told us, PB. Exodus has the ability to fix all of this. Right now, we need to focus on survival. This will all blow over soon enough, and we'll get to see everybody again, not just Fidget, but your mother too. Do you really believe that, Righty? Yes, with all of my heart. I know that Exodus can do this. You're lying. You said we need to focus on survival, but then you said death is irrelevant, especially if Exodus can reverse it. That's why I don't believe you, and why I think Fidget is really gone. You fear death. You don't want to die. You don't truly believe in Exodus. You don't truly believe in Rayo's words. There's a part of you that knows the truth. Righty clenches his fists, unsure of what to say. You're holding on to a false hope, just like Fidget's been doing for years. I miss him, Righty. I miss him so much. And it's all your fault. PB leaps to Righty, presumably to attack, but instead, he cries and hugs his friend. A fountain of tears runs down his face. I want him back. Riley embraces Peepee and starts to cry as well, shedding his first tears since the Exodus project. When I open my eyes, I'm confused by what I see. There's also a weird sensation in the back of my mind. For some reason, I think I see Riley and Peepee, but in front of me is a rusty hanger bay. I shake my head and attempt to gain clarity. After a few moments, I notice Nagy approach me. Were Riley and Peepee in some sort of danger? If that was the case, I'm sure Nagy would know. I'm sorry for the mess, Exodus. This room doesn't get much use. I promise the rest of the ship is clean. Rest of the ship? What does that mean? This is my home, the Terminus, a flagship vessel built by the Federation, seized with force by my own hand. But please, follow me, Exodus. This room doesn't befit our conversation. It's merely an organic landing pad. Organic landing pad? Yes, it's able to transfer living beings, even if they are nowhere near the ship. As you can see, we don't get this much company. He laughs, clearly a jab at the dilapidated room. I understand though. It's like getting beamed up. He must have transferred us both from Terra's surface. I think you'll find this place beautiful. First impressions can be a damning thing. You must have thought I was ugly at first. Without even saying so, he starts to leave the room. I have no choice but to follow him with hesitation. I grip my new sword, ready to use it at any time. But when we exit, I see that it truly is beautiful. Everything is pristine. It's glossy and white. Several computer monitors display incomprehensible data. This technology is so advanced I can barely grasp it. The Federation must be eons ahead of Earth and Tehran. I stare in awe as I walk to Nagy. He's walking fast, and I don't want to get lost. I have to run to catch up as his stride is much longer. I'm taking you to the bridge. I thought it would be more fitting. No doubt you have lots of questions. I heard what Father told you, but there's a lot more to it than that. Stories are rarely ever one-sided. We turn a few corners and I do my best to catch up. Nagy's demeanor is extremely different than I knew. I have some fright within me from our last meeting. A part of me fears that he might make a sudden move. But I don't blame you, Exodus. Wait, is it okay if I call you that? I think it fits you better, to be honest. Father got to you first. It's a shame. Him and his people made a big impression. You were attached and less open-minded. I have flashbacks to the first time I visited Tehran. Riley got to Kila, and Dimian and Conrad got to me. At that time, we sided with opposite parties. I even thought about this correlation in my mind. But it couldn't be as simple as that. It implies there is no good or evil at play. Nagy attacked the Federation. He admits this. And to top it all off, he tried to kill me. I have a reason for everything I've done. You sat through Father's story, Exodus. I hope you can do the same for mine. We're almost at the bridge. It won't be much longer now. We can end this without violence. We turn a few more corners and I see a large door. It's likely the entrance to the bridge of the ship. Nagy keeps walking and it opens upon his approach. I quickly enter after him, hoping it doesn't close. I know one thing for sure. This was where it ended. As soon as I enter, I see Nagy standing at a terminal. I don't know what he's doing, but he sure does. His fingers tap away at the touchscreen with expertise. After a moment, the windows seem to open. They fade into transparency. I'm welcome to the void of space, an absolute black. It's littered with less stars than I would expect. It's kind of beautiful, isn't it? This is the edge of your reality plane. You can see outside, but that's it. You don't have the technology to escape, nor the ability to see this far. You're the first Earthling to witness this. All those stars, just out of reach, they're the Federation's core worlds. But what you're seeing is only a memory. They're so far away, this is accurate. That light is millions of years old. We've long since destroyed those worlds. Honestly, I'm a little conflicted. From here, they look amazing, but you can see their flaws up close. If I could only see them like this, I never would have destroyed them. They would still glisten like this today. But every candle dims into nothingness, and there's also beauty in the darkness, something that most people hate to admit. He rests his hand against the window and snickers. I guess he's overtaken by nostalgia at this sight. What the universe looked like before his onslaught. Then, a moment later, he turns to me and smiles. I wish I could show you that darkness. Light is not as pure as people think. Those worlds shine with indecency. He takes slow steps to me. I want to ready my blade, but I don't. I sense sorrow and regret in his words. He wasn't going to attack me. I could tell. I hate thinking about the past. It stirs up rage within my soul. But do you share the same rage as me? We were supposed to create a perfect world, but it wouldn't really be our world. It would be handed over to the Federation. And what would happen to us after that? We would likely get discarded, thrown away. We had no purpose other than to listen. At first, we didn't know that. We happily made Earth to be perfect. We believed it was our will to do so. But free will did not exist for us. We were only doing what we were told to, even if we didn't know it at the time. We grew curious about our future. That is when we confronted Father. He told us the truth about everything. We lashed out at him in a rage. We should have been free to live our lives. But instead, he created us as slaves. He didn't deserve to live in peace. That is why we performed our ritual. We cursed Earth with all manner of flaws. Death, disease, famine, you name it. He would slowly watch his mission crumble. His scepter would be always out of reach. Nami and myself were able to break free, and we promised that one day we would return. We would kill him when his will was broken. That is when we embarked on our mission. We would find the leader of the Federation, and we would kill them, breaking all shackles. They would never be able to do this again, condemn worlds to their servitude. The reality plane should have been free. The core worlds were the first thing we saw. They were in worse shape than we thought, much more pathetic than Father let on. We touched down on one as soon as we could, but we were instantly greeted with violence. It was unfortunate, but we fought back. That's when we found out the truth. Our weapons were plagued as well, likely from the same ritual on Earth. As we killed them, we grew stronger. We could convert life into raw energy. Suddenly, our goal became more realistic. We began traversing all of these worlds, and we saw the Federation's true nature. They could barely sustain their own people. Their need for new energy was apparent, but none of the planes were successful, as the Federation was living its final days. You might think that we're monsters, but our harvesting was a display of mercy. These people were suffering so much. We would use their energy in a righteous manner by destroying the Federation entirely. No more worlds would suffer because of them. As we harvested, we interrogated. We learned where the Federation was run, and about its leader, the Imperator. We knew where we had to go, the world that the Imperator called home. Only there could we end the Federation, but we saved it for last Exodus. We wanted the Imperator to suffer too, much like Father would be at the same time. He would see his Federation fall apart, and when he lost all hope, he would die. Then the universe would be truly free. Our journey finally led us to the home world. We were all powerful, completely invincible. Sure enough, this world was a paradise. They weren't suffering like other worlds. The Imperator obviously did this on purpose, ensuring that he was able to live happily. We met with him and had a long talk. He stood by his morals to the very end. These experiments were for the greater good. He was civil, which was unexpected. His experiments led to so much suffering. He was the biggest mass murderer in history. Therefore, his end was very fitting. We killed him, but showed him no mercy. He was destroyed by his own experiments. We should have been satisfied, but we weren't. Was there something else we had to do? That's when we discovered the Terminus. The Federation knew that they were dying, so they no longer sat around waiting. They built a ship capable of reality travel. They wanted to visit their reality planes, rather than waiting for them to break free. We seized the ship without hesitation. That's when we realized what to do next. The Imperator was not the true creator. Something, or someone, made the Imperator. The Federation didn't spawn from nothing. This entire universe was likely created, but what would hold such power? We needed to continue our harvest, but now we could visit the reality planes. We were no longer limited to core worlds. The power we could gather was infinite, but we would need every bit of it. We would be breaking out of the universe. Reality planes were nothing to us anymore, and the Federation was insignificant. There was an even greater target out there. So we did what we had been doing forever. We started harvesting the reality planes. Our power grew with each successful harvest. That's when Terra piqued our interest. There seemed to be a massive power crescent, and not only that, it was rapidly growing. The temptation to harvest Terra was huge, but we decided to save it for last. As well, we would let the power grow as long as we could. And grow you did, Exodus. Nami and I harvested the universe, but somehow your power rivaled that. It would definitely be enough to break free. That's when we decided to come to Terra. Nami was driven by her lust to kill Father. And who was I to get in her way? She had a desire that was truly her own. She wasn't acting under any influence, so I let her do it. Even if she died, her final act would be her own choice. There is nothing more beautiful than that. I promised I would achieve our goal. That's why we destroyed the tavern. There would be no need of it anymore. It was symbolic of Father's failure, his hopes to see a connected universe. We had fun razing it to the ground. And that brings us to where we stand, on the cusp of a universal revolution. I want to find the All Creator, Exodus, even if I have to travel forever, even if a million universes get in my way, I will find them and destroy them. I'll use their power to start over again, a new beginning for all of existence, without the suffering I've witnessed. That is what I was truly made to do. I wasn't meant to make a perfect world. I was meant to make universes of perfection. And you can help me, Exodus. Your power is vast and infinite. You don't need to follow Father's orders. His dream is less than ideal. His universe would be overpopulated. It would suffer in the same way. He would have you undo all of my harvesting, bring back every world and every life. But that's not such a good thing. They lived a horrifying existence, and some of those people were truly evil. The Imperator was living proof of that. Everything would be connected, sure, but would it truly be harmonious? I don't think that's the case, Exodus. There are worse people than me out there. Father would give them free reign, all in the name of a connected universe. That's why we destroyed the tavern. There's another way to handle this, something that works for us both. Lend me your energy, Exodus. I'll use it to leave this universe, but I'll close off Earth and Terra. Whatever I do won't affect you. These worlds will live just as they have, but we'll destroy the Ark completely. The worlds will be independent. There will be no more give and take. Terra can become a world of its own. It won't be connected to Earth anymore. Therefore, no more immigration. This will solve all of Terra's problems. Death will be permanent. Terra will be free. It won't exist solely to hold energy. You can give the citizens true freedom. This is so much to take in. I have to stop and think. So Naki ended up destroying the entire Federation. But it was suffering, so he saw it as a mercy. Now he wants to see who created this universe. The only way he can break out is with all of our power. The universe held in the blades and in my energy. But he's offering to leave Earth and Terra unharmed. Only if I can give up all of Velasquez's ideals. I've seen life on Terra, though. It's not good. Was the rest of the universe were truly that bad? Would I be releasing as much suffering as he said? It seems that now this is a battle of pure ideals. On one hand, I could guarantee Earth and Terra's safety. If we closed ourselves off, there would be no risk at all. A connected universe was risky, but the reward, great. It would also give us an opportunity to advance. There's no way I could decide this on my own, and I would have to defeat Nagi to connect the universe. Otherwise, we would admit a defeat of our own and hide. We would live quietly, never knowing what could have been. I can see Nagi tremble with unease. I think he expected me to give in to his speech. But there are so many voices in my head. I can't. It's too unclear, too cloudy to pass judgment. I understand what's going on. The souls inside are conflicted once more. They don't know what action to take, right? I nod and tell him I'm sorry. I would need lots of time to think about this. It doesn't need to come to that, Exodus. I have a better way to decide everything. A way to let our true selves decide. He turns his back to me and returns to the terminal. I see him typing away at it, much harder than before. I sense that he's trying to hide some frustration. Did he really expect to convince me so easily? After a while, he turns back to me. The ship starts to move, pushing me back violently. I almost fall down, but grab onto a terminal. As this happens, Nagi gives me an evil smirk. I've learned one thing during our harvests. People are most open before their death. That it's when we put things in perspective. You can learn a lot about another person, especially with a blade to their neck. So tell me, what do you truly want? He flourishes his blade and holds it out to me. I instinctively do the same in turn, facing him. The ship is moving, our destination unknown to me. Nagi keeps that evil grin on his face, ready to kill. Our destination is Terral, a crash course. In fact, we'll hit the castle directly. The fallout will obliterate everything. Let the blade speak of your resolve. If you can defeat me, then very well. You'll make Father's dream a reality. But if you don't defeat me in time, we'll crash and you'll die. Then I can use your power for myself. He lunges to me and attempts to strike me down. I meet his sword halfway, locking both of us in place. I gaze into his eyes. It seems we are of equal strength. The blade stay endeavor, not choosing sides. But there's a part of me that wants to defeat him. As it detects this desire, the gear on my blade spins. It gives me extra strength, and I finally overpower him. I dodge with ease, moving to the side. After a moment, he attacks once more in full force. I brace myself and hold out my blade in defense. When our swords clash, a white light flashes before us. Likely this is a reaction to my spinning gear. No! The energy is escaping. These blades were not meant to clash. Exodus, tame your gear immediately. I don't listen to him and I attack again. I needed this boost if I wanted to win. A white light flashes as they clash another time, but when it fades, I notice new stars glistening. A celestial light show being born from the blade. Worlds long since harvested, finding new life. Don't be foolish, you'll undo all of our work. Then neither of us can achieve anything. He starts to take a defensive stance. He was afraid of our swords connecting further. He dodges my attacks smoothly and with ease. I never thought such a man would display grace. A part of me wants to stop the gear, but I don't. Now that I've tasted its power, it's all I need. Perhaps this is what Maggie felt as he used it as well. He continues to evade, so I'll need to switch things up. Flames start to engulf the windows of the bridge. We must be breaking into the Turan atmosphere. The ship shakes. I could use this turbulence. Perhaps I'll be able to throw him off guard. Only a few minutes left, Exodus. I can dodge whatever you throw at me. There's no way you can win anymore. His baiting works, and I attack full force. But this time I do my best to trick him. In the middle of a slash, I lose my balance. He thinks the shaking of the ship overtook me, but he was the one who got caught off guard. He tries using my momentary confusion to attack me, but like he did before, I dodge him with ease. I turn around and drive the sword through his back. He lets out a grunt and falls to his knees. He remains there, panting heavily. The floor fills with his blood, pitch black. He bows his head down as if admitting defeat. I take a few steps back, my blade left inside of him. The puddle of blood on the floor grows in size. I watch on in awe, expecting him to pass out. Congratulations, Exodus. You've done it. You've proven how stupid you truly are. He laughs as he rises to his feet. It was all an act. He reaches behind himself and pulls out my blade. Now he has both swords, and he wasn't even hurt. For a moment I regret underestimating him. We aren't so quick to hurt, Exodus. We are both born from world stones. I'm surprised you thought it was over. But now I hold both blades. Infinite power courses through my veins. There's no way you can hope to win this. He walks to me and I retreat in fright, but eventually my back hits a wall. This is like the ballroom incident. I look around in panic, trying to find a way out. No one can save you now. In fact, why should I even wait? I can unleash your power right now. A few more steps and he's right in front of me. I know there's no use trying to run. I tried the same thing back when Endymion died. But this time, I wouldn't get sent back by Rayo. I often wondered if there was an afterlife. On the off chance that there is, give Father my regards when you see him. With that, he plunges both blades inside of me. I scream as I'm pinned to the wall of the terminus. My vision falters, and I look out the bridge window. The terrain surface grows bigger with each second. That's the world that wanted your help. You could have saved them, you know. I gave you a perfectly valid option, but instead, you chose to fight me. You chose a battle you knew you would lose, and they will all suffer for it. Look at those beautiful forests, Exodus. It's the last time you'll ever see them, or any terrain for that matter. Souls will continue to travel here, but they will find only hell, engulfed in fire, burning for eternity. He pushes the blades deeper and makes the gears spin. I can feel my essence draining faster than ever before. He was right. I could have agreed with him back then. But now, my last moments alive will be full of regret. My vision slowly starts to fade. It seems to activate our power at the last second. At the moment of impact, who would leave this universe? I would die, and everyone on Terra would suffer forever. But just like the ballroom, it wasn't over yet. However, instead of fear, these events bring hope. Not so fast, Nagi. He quickly turns to address the intruder. He's caught off guard, as they've never met. But it's good to see a familiar face after this, and a part of me knows what will happen next. Akron, do it now. While Nagi is confused, Rayo makes his move. He dashes to me and pulls out one of the swords. Then he returns to the center of the bridge, smirking. He points the blade at Nagi, completely determined. So, we find Aileen, Velasquez's creations, together at last. He sure screwed up the first time around. You're the other one, then. You foiled my plans in the ballroom. Brother, do you have a death wish? Nagi turns to me and tries to take the second blade, but before he can get to me, he stopped. Going somewhere? Akron quickly removes the other blade. I fall to the ground in a puddle of my own blood. But they have both swords, free to kill Nagi. They stand there, pointing both to him. You two, explain yourselves. I demand you tell me what's going on. Looks like you did to all the others you killed. Don't make me laugh. You don't deserve it. Today we erase a scourge from the universe. Rayo lunges forward, stabbing Nagi straight through. The larger man stumbles back, groaning in pain. Akron, let's end this. Destroy the cause of so much suffering, and give a brighter future to everyone. Couldn't have said it better myself. You know, I thought I won the battle, but now I know this is truly the end. He follows after Rayo and stabs Nagi as well. They both look at each other and give a firm nod. They activate the gears and Nagi screams in agony. You fools, you can't defeat me. I am the embodiment of death, a force more powerful than anything. Akon simply laughs. And I am the embodiment of life. For the first time, it has prevailed. A new force will govern the universe. A white light engulfs everything. I can't see, but I can feel energy, and then a lack of it. Almost as if Nagi is now a part of their blades. Had they truly defeated the man who created Earth? I bring myself to my feet, and my knees tremble. I call out to Rayo and Akron, hoping they're alive. Perhaps their energy was put into the blades as well. But when the light subsides, I see that's not the case. They both turned and faced me, wearing huge smiles. They had teamed up and done the unthinkable. They destroyed Nagi, ended his twisted journey. It's not over yet, Exodus. It's time to unleash your power. Akon, just like we practiced. They turn and point both swords at me, but I sense no hostility within them. It was finally time to bring this to an end. I will live out the purpose I was created for. I'll do this for everyone's freedom. No one will get stuck in a cycle of despair. He stabbed me with his blade and I feel a surge of power. And I'll do this for everyone's happiness. No more will death triumph over life. Akon follows suit, plunging his sword within me. Here, with the ability to change his story, will bring about a hopeful future. Exodus, we believe in you. They push the blades in deeper, but it doesn't hurt. Instead, I feel power like I've never felt before. It was time to change his story, make things better. I looked deep inside, finding out how much power I had. With all of it, I would create the best possible reality. But how much power did I have, and what could I do? This was a culmination of every action I ever took. Restore worlds and open connections. I could feel the power within me. I can do this. I would unleash every life, every world within these blades, and I would use the power within me to connect them. A shared universe just like Velasquez had wanted. I nod at them as they plead for a better reality. The gears spin and everything fades to white. I close my eyes, embracing what's to come. I knew that my journey had finally come to an end, and I also knew that I would never open my eyes again. But when they did, they would see the future I created, a future built on the foundation of loss and suffering, but a future that would never experience it again, for I was able to return those who perished. By my hands, all of this suffering would be undone, and the galactic community would unite and prosper. With the rewriting of history, Terra was different. Rather than being isolated, it was part of a community. Reality planes no longer existed and everyone was free. But this brought with it a host of new dangers as well. You want to travel to the fringe worlds. I'm sorry, I think I may have misheard. You know how dangerous they are, Endymion. Of course I do, Velasquez, but threats must be taken seriously. We've been tipped off a potential attack. I can't just stand by and watch this. It could injure galactic stability. Surely I can request a short leave. Nobody remembered what Terra was like before the change. Nami and Nagi were wiped from the annals of history. But so too would the child of Exodus be forgotten, for death and suspension meant losing more than life. Velasquez assembled a small task force he could rely on. They would help protect Terra's standing in the galaxy. But so much had changed, and things were different. People who were once close might not even meet. And what does your protege think? I can't force them into this situation. We need their input as well, Endymion. Of course. Endymion turns to the side and calls for his partner. His input was just as valuable to the king. Endymion is correct, my lord. This threat is not like the others. It's not just Tyrrell that would be affected. I would humbly request our leave as well. I am in no position to order you around, but know that we could save many lives. Velasquez strokes his chin in deep thought. I could easily send our ambassadors. Would diplomacy not avert this crisis? I'm afraid not, and nobody could know that we left. It would be off the books. Secret. Subterfuge, some would say. Ruling Tyrrell required more care than ever before. One decision could send ripples across the galaxy, and Velasquez's decisions were always under scrutiny. Every world was watching each other. No one was alone. Are you sure you could keep this a secret? I would hate for our world to suffer. Our reputation is special to me, Righty. I am confident in our ability. Very well. I trust you. Tell me more about this threat.
Stream elements. Said. Stay moist, my friends, hydrate.
I would like to know the scope of it all. Velasquez's task force focused on galactic issues. His ambassadors, however, handled things much smaller. They represented Tyrrell in the Galactic Senate. Issues such as trade and immigration were their concern. They want to send us more refugees. Have we not already taken all we can? I don't know if I agree with this choice. But the people of Albia Prime need help. Their crisis is our opportunity, Dusk. This is where we can afford to barter. What do we need from them? Besides, won't we come off as greedy? Of course not. It's our decision. We would be far from the first world to do it, and their local export sales for a lot. Do you think a tithe would be acceptable? That's what I was going for. Open doors to Albia Prime for a price. We sell their goods and our economy booms. We can't just offer our shelter for free. People would take advantage of us. Velasquez can have the final say. Very well, but you can't be forgetting. Our trip to the Senate is approaching. We need to handle this in a swift manner. Yeah, I heard you the first time. Unpacking all of my stuff next week. I hope they like our ideas this time. Every year, the Galactic Senate would gather together. They would share ideas and vote for the betterment of all. Meeting on the core worlds, they held deliberations, but it wasn't just the larger things that needed ruling. Every town on Tyrrell had an elected governor. They were given enough power to rule on their own. This was so Velasquez and his team could relax. Managing their galactic standing was more than enough. A motion to decrease the price of produce. I wasn't aware we were overcharging. What do you think we should do? It might not be expensive to you, Father, but not everybody has the same standards. There are people who struggle on Tyrrell. I would lower it, but not by too much. We don't want to sell ourselves short. Should we use the other towns as a guide? That's a great idea, my son. Would you be willing to take that trip? We would be able to price more competitively. I would love to do that. I would get to visit Keelan in his home. I haven't seen him in a very long time. Very well, then it's decided, but there's no need to leave just yet. We have quite a few motions to look over. Many were pushed apart in unexpected ways, but thanks to change, many were also brought together. However, they would never know that things had changed. To them, their lives had always been this peaceful. Wait, let me get this straight, Trish. King Velasquez offered you a job. Yeah, I was just as shocked as you are. I mean, can you even believe this is true? Well, no, but probably for different reasons. Are you going to accept his offer? Of course. This is the best thing that's ever happened. I'll definitely get to perfect my art, and I'll make sure to advertise your tavern. Oh, there's no need for that. Don't want you breaking any rules. We can handle things on our own. I guess you're right. I did put up a now hiring sign though. Figured you would need some extra help. Thanks, that was really nice of you. I appreciate everything you've done for us. Just then, someone knocks on the tavern door. If you'll excuse me, Trish. He leaves the conversation and answers the door. A friendship that lasted a lifetime we formed that day. Welcome to the Wayfarer's Tavern, sir. What can I do for you on this fine day? Hey there, I saw a job posting outside. I was wondering if it's still available. While others stayed in Riley, others moved away. Terral was now a bustling world full of opportunity, but even if there was a distance, many remained united. Cabu, it's so good to see you again. I was just about to write you. Can't believe you managed to surprise me. He hugs his friend and they share a moment of joy. They didn't know why, but they became great friends, as if something inside of them called to one another. Perhaps remnants of their tragedy had stayed with them. Kalen, not for so long. People are starting to stare, but it's good to see you too, my friend. The embrace is broken and both wear large smiles. So what brings you here, Cabu? Surely it's business of some sort. Yeah, you're right, but it requires your input. Claire wants to reevaluate some pricing. Well, I can help with that. I do the same thing with my boss. I knew you would never let me down. This is a matter of produce. Citizens think we're overcharging. They walk down the street, staying close as they walk. That's definitely a tough one. That kind of stuff is a necessity. It's easy to charge more for that. We dealt with that a while ago too, but I think we settled at a nice price. At least the citizens seem to enjoy it. So much has changed, you know? Getting a new governor will do that, and he's been very popular with the people. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Your town elected a new leader. What did you say his name was again? It's Riley. It seems in this new world, even enemies were friends. Souls that were lost had the chance to shine again. This changed the direction of many people's lives, including those that would otherwise cling to the past. Wait, I did it correctly. Trish always told me that was wrong. I'm really confused now, PB. I guess we did have our differences. It's just cleaning glass, though. If you damage them, we can buy more. She did most of the damaging action. I wonder what the king saw in her. I guess she made good drinks or something. Maybe we'll never know. The last quest rules in mysterious ways. Just focus on the tavern, alright? Alright. So what do I do next? I mean, all the glass is clean now. I swept the floors and wiped the windows. You've done way too much, Bridget. Just relax and take a breather. I don't want you burning yourself out. Just then, another visitor arrives at the tavern. They gently knock on the door, and Fidget smiles. Home a little earlier today? Don't worry, I'll get it to PB. He runs to the door, leaving his brother behind. As he opens it, the smiling face of his mother awaits. He leaps into her arms, and she softly kisses his cheek. It was an embrace that he never wanted to end. It seems that in this moment, everything was fine, not just for Fidget, but for the galaxy as a whole. Tara went on to live a long and prosperous life, and those who lived there were given happiness, the better future that they always deserved. Endymion and Rite went on to carry out their mission. They performed with honor and stopped a massive threat. Feeling guilty, however, Velasquez came clean. He told the Galactic Senate what they had planned. Instead of punishment, however, they were rewarded. The Galactic Senate wanted to hire their services. Together, they founded a new branch of government, agents dedicated to covertly defusing threats. They would forever be remembered as the founders. Endymion and Rite became a vital part of history. After their passing, they were used as a measure. Everyone aimed to do as much good in the galaxy as them. Dusk and Sam continued to serve as Tara's ambassadors. Their time was devoted to enhancing quality of life. Tara's standing in the galactic community was high. Happiness and peace were commonplace on this world. Eventually, they were asked to serve the core worlds. Over time, they came to rule the Galactic Senate. It was their job to rule over the annual deliberations. Henceforth, their ideas were never discarded again. Claire and Cabu continued to govern the town of Riley. It became known for its peaceful and affordable life. But as time passed, old age took the life of Claire. His son ran in the election and secured leadership. He maintained the town his father worked to create, but in the end, he was able to make it even better. Riley became a home for the more upper-class citizens, a far cry from its more humble beginnings in poverty. Conrad was hired and began working at the tavern. He served out his days as a royal denizen of Riley. He lived a small, happy life of complete peace. He had never experienced danger of battle again. PB, too, lived a quiet life of happiness. Running the tavern with Conrad, they made a fortune. As Riley rose in rank, so too did their revenue. Eventually, it became the most luxurious bar on Terra. Trish served Velasquez for the rest of her days. Over time, and with practice, she perfected her art. She was responsible for lots of tourism to the castle. Everybody wanted to taste her beautiful concoctions. And to them, the castle gates remained forever open. Caden served with Riley for many years to come, but much like Claire, old age got the better of him. Running for office, Caden succeeded his boss. Him and his best friend had both become governors. They promptly united both of their towns as one. In the future, it would be known as New Riley. Together, they led their home to prosperity, and they were remembered for many years to come. Fidget remained under the tutelage of his mother. She was considered one of the brightest minds on Terra. However, this time, the Exodus project never happened. She was not claimed, and they lived together in joy. She was responsible for many technological advances, and as they got older, she taught her son her ways. She did pass away, but Fidget was able to let go. He went on to continue her work and aid the galaxy. It was a harsh truth that nobody could live forever. This even rang true for the immortal king Velasquez. He was remembered as Tara's greatest leader, taught in every school for generations to come. In that sense, maybe he was immortal. The annals of time never forget such men. Tara went on to experience an eternal peace. They lived forever in harmony with the galaxy. Earth, however, would remain largely unchanged. It was introverted, concerned with its own matters. It would be a while before they entered the community, but life still changed, and all for the better. With the sacrifice of Exodus, tragedies were averted. This left things free to proceed as they were meant to. Hype escalated as the launch of Places tour arrived, but due to these changes, there's only one winner. Absolutely not. I forbid it. I can't just let you go out alone. Remember what happened the last few times. But Singe, I really want to. I should be there to greet him personally, especially after all the pop star he drank. You'll have plenty of time to meet him, but it will have to be later on. Rook and Jade will be picking him up. And I'm sorry, but that's final. You know how the press can get, Clace. I don't want you in the spotlight just yet. Clace slumps down on his chair and is sad at this news. In his mind, he should greet the contest winner. After all, this entire thing was his idea. Fine. But you should let them take the limo. At least do that for me, alright? Otherwise, it'll be boring for him. I don't think you heard me properly. We must avoid undue attention. We'll save it all for the tour launch. Please just let them take the limo. Imagine if you won such a huge contest. You would be let down if you got anything else. You're the one who said this was great PR. Do you want to seem cheap to everybody? Then by all means, send a tiny car. Singe groans, resting his face in his hands. Fine, I'll give them the limo, but I'm not doing this happily. At least let the record show that. Yeah, but you don't do anything happily, so this is just typical Singe, right? An awkward silence ensues before they start laughing. But seriously, let's focus here. You should probably tell Inumi what's up. He loves hanging out in that limo, right? Yeah, I'll do it. He'll be so happy to go along. Who was the contest winner again? His name is Keela. As many things changed, some new bonds were forged. Wounds of the past would never again be reopened. They worked with fervent effort as the tour approached, but even the most dedicated workers deserve some rest. So, I guess this is it. Our last day to relax and unwind. Tomorrow, the tour starts in force. Yeah, you said it, Jade. I wish we had more time to relax. Things are going to get pretty busy. It won't be that bad in the end. Traveling the world is fun and prospect, and you know, we get to do it together. He smiles at Jade and she smiles back. So why did you pick this place? You had to know that I hate water. You're up to something, aren't you? No way. I'm offended. When would I have ulterior motives? I'm a man of pure heart and spirit, with an impeccable sense of humor too. Come on, Rook, spill the beans. Rook walks to the railing and looks in the water. He waves Jade over, and she joins him in observing. Again, I hate water. I can think of something that hates it more. Something that's no longer needed, either. Yeah, what is that? Rook smiles and walks to the opposite railing. With a running start, he throws his tablet in the water. It hits far away, and they can hear its impact loudly. Rook, what did you do that for? He turns around and embraces Jade with a smile. She's caught off guard and starts giggling. A blush appears on her face at the sudden advance. Because I have everything I need right here. They share a kiss, alone on the quiet dock, their only witness, the slowly setting sun. It brings with it the end of a special day and the beginning of something even more special. Though his story was changed, many things stayed the same. This rang true of the guitarist Shock and Rocker. They were relaxing backstage while dusting off awards and living with the hope that they might get more. So, are you ready for the big show? I've been practicing over time now. Lots of critics to impress this time. Yeah, I suppose I'm ready, but I don't care about the critics. They take the fun out of everything. I play because it's my passion, Sean. I don't do it to get evaluated. To me, the music brings happiness. Are you calling me vain or something? I play to impress the entire world. Not everybody is as talented as we are. Of course not. You're not in vain. Some people like that kind of validation. I just like staying in the shadows. And I'm grateful to have this chance. He cracks open a pop star and starts chugging. He swallows it and lets out a refreshing sigh. I'm sorry, would you like one? No thanks, I quit a while back now. While some remained in the shadows, others found light, but it was under much better circumstances than before. With a chance to debut her skills, Daz practiced hard. Yes, Inumi, I get to sing for everyone. I wrote a song, and I'll do my best, but I'm not the greatest piano player. That's so cool. I'm proud of you. You know, people call my brother stubborn, but he fights for things that help others, just like he did to help me. Daz smiles, knowing the story of Inumi's adoption. She practices her dance moves while he watches in awe. Wow, Daz, you're really good at that. Not even Clace could pull that move off. Don't forget me when you're a celebrity. She laughs, but she's secretly hopeful. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Deep inside, she hopes to impress at the concert. Her piece is somber, showing off her potential, composed from memories deep inside of her heart. I don't think I'll ever forget you, Inumi. Something tells me you're here to stay, but I need to practice now. Is that okay? Of course, don't even worry about it. I have to go take a trip anyway. I'm picking up the contest winner. Wow, that's pretty exciting stuff. Would you tell them I said hello? Sure, but under one condition. You name it. I want you to teach me how to dance. One day I'll take over for my brother, and I want to be just as famous as you two. The future of many were headed in uncertain directions. However, some were left to embrace their destiny. Arriving in Tokyo, they wanted to protect everyone, but they knew not what grand fate awaited them. Fukumoto here, live from Tokyo. Breaking news, folks. A new visitor, the CEO of Armstrong Incorporated. I thank you so much for giving us your time. The viewers will have lots of questions, especially about the nature of your visit. Unfortunately, it's a secret. You understand what my busyness is like. but nobody should fear for their safety. Words of wisdom, if I ever heard them. Tell us, Acorn, about your situation. You're thrust into leadership so fast. Do you have anything to say about that? The viewers wonder about your inheritance, that and the disappearance of your family. He pushes the microphone to Acorn's face. Acorn pulls back, clearly feeling violated. No comment, I'm afraid. There's far too much speculation. I'm just focusing on performing admirably. As mysterious as ever, I seem. Very well, I certainly trust you. Armstrong has done so much good. America is much safer in your hands, and soon, maybe Japan will be too. We'll await a more formal announcement. Acorn nods and smiles, happy that he backed off. He wasn't about to reveal the reason he was in Tokyo. It was something he would announce at a later date. However, he knew Japan would love what he had to say. The debut of the world tour came closer and closer, and on the best day of his life, Keela arrived. But this time around, he was more than a new man. Winning this contest gave him a large sense of hope. Are you sure you don't need any help? Please tell me. It's no trouble at all. I would hate for you to hurt yourself, Keela. No, please don't worry. I've been through much worse. Trust me, this is the best I've felt in years. He coughs, placing a hand over his mouth. He carries with him a device that assists his breathing. Had things been any other way, Keela would be bedridden, but winning this contest meant the world to him. You really should have brought a guardian. Didn't you say you had a twin brother? I'm really worried for your safety, Keela. Please don't coddle me, Rook. And yeah, I do have a brother. He was even prepared to come. For me. I know I'm really sick, but it's okay. I will make sure not to cause any trouble. This will be the best year of my whole life. Rook smiles as he leads Keela to the exit. Be, be he had an ever watchful eye on his sickly friend, he would guarantee both his safety and his fun. Deep down inside, this feels familiar to him. Well then, are you ready for some fun? Clace even thought to get you a limo. We'll be going on tour in style, Keela. Wow, that's fantastic. He really did that for me. I can't wait to thank him in person. He coughed some more at his overexcitement, but he knew he wouldn't be sick for much longer, not with all of this hope and all of this support. It would play a vital role in his speedy recovery. With everything lined up, it was finally time. Clay stood backstage, trembling in fear. Daz joined him, scared of her big debut. Shock and Rocker, however, enjoyed the shadows. What if they don't like me? I put my heart and soul into this song. I would be crushed if they didn't applaud. Man, I feel the same way. I had some nightmares last night, too. After the song, they were just silent. That's horrible. Just play up the crowd, Daz. Tell them how good they are. Say you love all of them. Do I say Tokyo is the best city ever? Only if you want to be cliche, but I guess we're no stranger to those. It's old-fashioned, but it works. You're singing a slower song, right? Ask them to take out their lighters. It's great to unite the audience. Yeah, it is a slower song. I hope I don't ruin your energy. I wouldn't worry about it, Daz. I'm retiring after this tour anyway. This is your chance to prove yourself. Retiring? You must be hearing things. I didn't say anything of the sort. Anyway, I think they'll call us out soon. I'm so nervous. Clace places his hand on Daz's shoulder. He recalls when he was in her situation, but in the end, everything worked out. They would laugh at this anxiety when it was over. Listen, Daz, everything will be fine. I've heard your voice. It's beautiful. Now let's go sing our hearts out. When their names were called, they ran out on stage. The crowd was pumped, applauding almost immediately. They went on to give a performance for the ages. For once, everything was perfect in their lives. They would never know the true cost of that perfection. The world tour went on to launch with a big bang. It was talked about for years to come, breaking records, but true to his word, Place retired when it was over. However, he still remained in the industry he loved. He continued to tour with Daz as she performed, all while teaching his brother Inumi how to sing. With Daz's dancing lessons, he was sure to succeed. Singe went on to manage idols for the rest of his days. After Place, it was Daz, and it never ended. He was devoted to the business well into his old age. However, one day, that old age got the better of him. He left behind a legacy in the entertainment industry. He would never be directly remembered for any of it. To the world, he was the man behind the curtain, but he loved the piece and was fine with that. Shock and Rocker wouldn't always remain in the back. When Place retired, they started their own careers. Their popularity even surpassed some pop idols, and until they retired, they always topped the charts. Daz lived up to the bargain, teaching Inumi to dance. When Place retired, Inumi was already well trained. It only seemed natural that he would follow his brother. Becoming a pop idol, he also toured the world. After Cinch's passing, he needed to make a change. He set his eyes on managing and took Cinch's place. How else could he repay the man he saw as a father? He maintained the legacy he worked so hard to create. Fukumoto quickly gained popularity for his unique style. Eventually, he was offered a job with a huge network. Moving to America, he pursued his biggest dream, and he never again resorted to tabloid journalism. Acorn was in Tokyo to test a new product. It was a way to subdue without any chance of harm. Armstrong Incorporated became enforcers of peace, and they would never again use death as a tool. He was a product for the peace he gave Earth, but as most do, he set his sights even higher. One night, fate took him in a drastically new direction, and from that day on, he was never seen again. Rook and Jade's love blossomed as they toured the world. Each new stop brought several romantic hotspots. They served Singe loyally until his fateful passing. After that, they wed into a life of peace. After Place retired, Daz took the spotlight. She was the idol to beat, gaining a massive following. World tour after world tour, she kept the momentum. Platinum records and a lifetime of glory awaited her. But she knew that this was mostly thanks to Place. His decision to step down raised her up. She would be forever thankful for what he had done, and they remained friends for the rest of their lives. Keela's hope was renewed, and he was as happy as ever. After the tour ended, he remained friends with everyone. He beat his illness and lived a long and happy life. Him and his brother Eddie were henceforth inseparable. They founded several charity organizations together. No one would have to suffer like Keela did. At least, that was their end goal in life, and over time they helped find many cures. Earth would remain isolated for a long time to come. They didn't have the technology to join the galaxy, but this never stopped them from living happily, and for the rest of its existence, Earth was peaceful. I don't know how I saw all of this, to be honest. As far as I knew, I was supposed to be dead, but I smiled as I saw the future I left behind. It seemed that in the end, everyone was happy.
What's your story? What's your plan? Where you going to? Where do you stand? In this moment, take a chance. Feel the light shine down. Live your life out loud. You can dance. Hear the laughter in the air. Let your voice be heard. If you dare, take the high road.